Good morning, my friends. Yes. Oh, welcome to First Unitarian Church in New Bedford. To everyone here in our pews and everyone joining us online, we're glad you're here today. I'm Reverend Karen LeBlanc, and I minister to this church as we minister to each other here. We are a people creating beloved community here at First Unitarian. We believe in practicing and promoting the UU values of justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity in our congregation, and that those values always spring from the love at the center that guides us all. We are people of purpose in this church. We work to make sure everyone feels welcome in this meeting house. So if what you hear today resonates with you, we hope you'll consider becoming part of this way cool family of seekers and keepers of this very long dream that is our church. First Unitarian in New Bedford recognizes that the land we inhabit and enjoy sits on the unceded ancestral land of the Wampanoag. We give our respect to the people of the First Light and their ancestors, and we honor them in this church. And now, a couple of housekeeping things here. We are having a baby dedication today during our service. That's really cool. That's why we have multiple babies here today, so that's terrific. If you want to be on our newsletter list, please sign this card, put it in the offertory basket. That comes online. We are live streaming, as I said, so be aware of that. Next week is our new members service and our chair fair, so come on down and welcome our at least 10, if not more, new members next week. Very excited about that. Tickets are available for Aoife Clancy and Eddie Dillon. If you like Irish music, they are couple of the most well-known Irish musicians around here. They will be playing here on the 15th of March here in the sanctuary. $20 in advance, $25 at the door, so get your tickets now. All right, now if you put your phones in worship mode, we will light our chalice. Annika, I believe it is your 11th birthday today. So let's light the chalice. Let's sing happy birthday to her while she lights the chalice. How about that? To you, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Annika. Happy birthday to you. Outstanding. Congratulations, young lady. We love you. We gather again with joy and gratitude, but also with pieces and parts that are worn out and worn down, wanting once again to trust, to believe that hope is not as fragile as it sometimes seems, that division is not as deep as it sometimes appears. And so we light this flame as an act of faith, a reminder, a redeclaration, a rekindling of the trust that darkness can't ever shut out the light, that kindness is more powerful than we know, that humility and accountability allow us to change, that together we can most certainly bend the arc of this miraculous universe toward beauty, toward justice, and toward love. Can I get an amen? Amen. Thank you. Our opening words today are from Brian Doyle. Good morning. All you can do is face the world with quiet grace and hope you make a sliver of difference. Humility does not mean self-abnegation, lassitude, detachment. It's more a calm recognition that you must trust in that which does not make sense, that which is unreasonable, illogical, silly, ridiculous, and crazy by the measure of most of our culture. You must trust that you being the best possible you matters somehow, that trying to be an honest and tender parent will echo for centuries through your tribe, that doing your chosen work with creativity and diligence will shape people far beyond your ken, that being an attentive and generous friend and citizen will prevent a thread or two of the social fabric from unraveling. God, we need that. And you must do all of this with the certain knowledge that you will never get proper credit for it. And in fact, that the vast majority of things you do right will go utterly unremarked. This is what I know, that the small is huge and the tiny is vast. Amen. All right, now we're gonna sing a hymn together, but first stand up and let's have a quick moment of movement to get ourselves centered in our bodies. A few deep breaths, stretch up to the sky. We're gonna do 3 of those real quick. Oh. One more. And push your heart out. Give me some cactus arms like this. And give yourself some love right now. And feel that love and spread it out to everyone in this room and spread it out everywhere into the world where we really, 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 really need it. Oh, okay. Now that we're up, we are going to sing hymn number 409, your gray hymnal number 409. I'm sure you might be familiar with this song.
Sleep, my child, and peace attend you all through the night. I who loved you shall be near you all through the night. Soak the drowsy house are creeping, hill and vale in slumber sleeping. I, my loving vigil keeping, all through the night. Mother, I can feel you near me all through the night. Father, I know you can hear me all through the night. And when I am your age nearly, still I will remember clearly how you sang and held me dearly all through the night. While the moon her watch is keeping all through the night, while one half the world is sleeping all through the night, even while the sun comes stealing, visions of the day revealing, breeze a pure and holy feeling all through the night.
Now, please take the time to greet one another. Say good morning. We have lots of visitors here today, so welcome them. Eric and Eric, I'm so glad to see you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Now, if you'll remain standing for a moment, we're going to read our covenant together, which is printed in your order of service. We come together as a religious community, upholding freedom of conscience, right relationship, and the inherent worth of all people. We value our diversity and pledge to care for one another in the spirit of compassion, to speak and listen to each other with respect, and to promote justice and kindness in the world. And now our story this morning is going to be read by Mom Marissa. Come on up.
And we won't be leaving the sanctuary after the story this time, because we're going to all stay and enjoy the dedication and then go to Sunday school for those obviously. Oh, have a seat. Sit down.
Good morning, everybody. So I have read this story here at least once before. It's a favorite of mine, but I thought that it was perfect to share today. It's The Invisible Web by Patrice Karst. The very best news ever has begun to spread all over the world, one heart at a time. Shout it from the mountaintops. Every single one of us is connected to those we love by invisible strings. That means Giovanna and her daddy are always together, even though he moved to a new house. Omar can feel the tugs of love from his parents, even though he's living far away at school. Mr. Chang can still feel Mrs. Chang close by, even though she died such a long time ago. And you, at this very moment, may feel the string of someone close to you, even though they aren't there. You can't see it, but it's real. Our strings reach to everyone we know. They travel far and wide, to families and friends, classmates and coaches, to bus drivers and babysitters, neighbors and pets, to aunts and uncles and grandparents and grandchildren, and countless other people. And all those people have hundreds of strings. Soaring high over rocky peaks and across the 7 seas, deep into jungles and valleys, and winding through the busiest of cities, all these strings crisscross one another and create a nest that covers the planet, interlacing us together, cradling us forever. The invisible web. The web has no borders and wraps every continent. Within it lives butterflies and flowers, starfish and seahorses, lions and ants, rivers and snowstorms, and all human beings. Giovanna, Omar, and Mr. Chang, and of course, you and me too. Some say it even reaches to our ancestors and those who we cherish in the beyond. One tug on a string sends love to every one of us, woven together in this divine tapestry. And that means just one good deed travels across the entire web. Everything is linked. But sometimes people forget. When they can't feel their strings, they forget about our invisible web. And that's when strings get tangled up. Like when lonely Luisa isn't invited to sit with anyone at her school at lunchtime, or when sad Stefano wishes his friend Marcus wasn't so bossy when they played, or when Mrs. Patel struggles at work without help and she just wants to quit. Even violence and war can erupt when too many of us forget the web. When strings are ignored, they can become weak and begin to unravel. But the more people who care for the web, the stronger it remains. The web feels like every parent since the beginning of time, holding and protecting each one of us in millions of gentle arms. What could be stronger than all those hands holding us close? So many supportive fingers can always find a way to untangle strings so that love can flow again. But it's up to every one of us to spread the word. Our time is right now. As we tell our family and friends, sisters will remind brothers, who will write to cousins, who will call their great-grandparents, who will just nod and smile as if they have always known. If we remember the web and tug at it often, nobody will ever be left out. We will see others more clearly. The people from the world will look into each other's eyes and will smile at one another. And when one of them cries, they will all want to help. And they do. Marcus apologizes to Stefano, who forgives his friend, and they have even more fun playing. Someone helps Mrs. Patel at work and tells her what a great job she's doing. She remembers that she's important and feels happy. And Louisa feels warm and bubbly inside when a few of the kids in class ask her to join them under the banyan tree for lunch. She knows just then that the invisible web is real. After school, Louisa cries with joy as she strokes her cat, who purrs the news to the stars. And the stars whisper the secret to the clouds, who share it with the songbirds, who serenade the world with the exquisite melody of love at the start of each morning and all during the day, until, as the invisible web glitters in the magic of twilight, the owls take over and hoot the news throughout the night. The invisible web is alive. Its time is right now. It breathes as we breathe, pulsating all over our earth, the single heartbeat of life and love. And do you know what that makes all of us? One very big family. Thank you.
Somebody liked hearing her mom read. I know. Okay, now we have set aside time in our worship service today to welcome a new child into the world. I'm talking about you, Layla. Yes, I am. Let me get on my pages. All right. I'm looking at you and you're looking at me. Come on over here. We'll have mom and dad and the godparents come on up. All right. Hi, Bubby. So I'm sure you're all familiar with the African proverb that says it takes a village to raise a child. And I think that proverb is true. Because the reason that we gather today is to welcome this little munchkin into this village, into this community of family and friends to nurture the growth of her mind, body, and spirit in the years to come. We do not dedicate this child to any path but the one she finds on her own. Rather, we dedicate ourselves to her inspiration, growth, happiness, and prosperity today. Another traditional reason to have a ceremony like this is to announce the name to the universe, to send it out like a prayer for guidance and protection. So Mari and Brennan, I ask you to tell everyone here and all the gods and ancestors the name this child will be known by.
Layla Elise Faye.
Woohoo! Welcome. All right, now I get the baby. Wait, that help me now. Okay. Welcome, Layla Elise Faye. You are amazing and unique. There is no one like you in the whole world. This young lady will one day find her own path and dedicate it herself. It is our job as her village, that's right, to dedicate ourselves to helping her become a thoughtful, wise, and independent person, so when she is faced with many paths before her, she will choose the one that brings her joy and fulfillment. That's right. Layla Elise Faye, you are now part of this big, crazy family and part of this blessed community, surrounded by people who love you. We see you and we honor the sacred in you. May you grow skillful, honorable, compassionate, and creative under the guidance of your mom and dad, and your godparents and your extended family. And may you find loyalty and companionship with all these young friends that you will grow up with. And may those gathered here know you, protect you, and guide you on your great adventure. Hooray! Layla, we welcome you in all of your uniqueness and give you this rose. Different from every other rose in the world, as a symbol of your uniqueness and individuality. I know, something else is coming. Don't worry. Water is the stuff of life. Water connects all living things, all of humanity. Make sure there's no thorns on this. You're going to get it. The rose is dipped in water to symbolize your connection to all of us in this community, and we sprinkle our blessings upon you today. So this is the water when we do our water communion at the beginning of the year. This is why we keep this special water for these kinds of blessings. All right, you ready? I'm going to dip it right here. We're going to go. I know you want it so bad. Go ahead. All right. Brendan and Marissa, to be a parent is to love and nurture, to watch a child grow, and to lead her, I've got 8 more, don't worry, and to lead her to the path of right living that she may know what is good, and knowing it, choose it. It is to teach and to learn. It is a path of great joy and great pain, raising a child. It is the greatest responsibility we have and the most profound blessing we can experience as human beings. Will you two undertake the honor of parenthood with joy, patience, perseverance, ensuring this young lady's safety and happiness, and encouraging her to explore her great potential? And will you let all of us support you in this important work to give Layla a sense of family and community so that none of us feel alone? Excellent. Jason and Emily, you have the honor of being Layla's godparents, chosen to be her guardians in times of need, to be those trusted friends who can be confided in by her and her parents, and to act as a source of spiritual guidance as Layla grows. Someday she may find her way through the doors of a church or a synagogue or a temple, but she may also decide that she understands God or the divine or the mystery best when she's singing or dancing or playing hockey or watching the sunrise. It is your job to set a good example for how to live according to the values we each know to be true in our hearts, and to help her find her own version of the truth. So as Layla's godparents, do you accept this challenge to be the people in her life that promise to be there when her heart is full, sometimes full of joy and sometimes full of sorrow, and to guide her through good times and bad when she or her family needs you? Outstanding. And of course, no child grows up outside the influence of his or her community, and no parent raises a child alone. So if our hopes for Leela are to blossom, that was a mistake giving her that rose, wasn't it? That's okay. If our hopes for Leela are to blossom, we must water them with love and commitment, creating the community for her that we wish to see flourish in her time. So do all of you here today promise to freely and wisely love this child, to offer her your steady presence and your best selves, to nurture and sustain her and her family as they learn and grow and change together? Then we welcome you, Leela Elise Faye, into this beloved community where you and your parents will always find your village. And now after the service, there's going to be a station down in the parish house where you can all give a personal blessing for Layla in the form of a piece of cloth that will be woven together into something beautiful and filled with love and good wishes. So do take part in that if you wish to. And now I have a special blessing for you in a little prayer. So this is the blessing that I write for babies. May the sun shine down upon you and laughter fill your days. May the good Lord grant you wisdom, health, good luck, and cunning ways. May the light of the full moon guide you through the darkness of the night. Listen only to your own heart, for to know thyself is might. May your hands be strong and busy. May your worries be but few. Through the seasons and the changes, I wish these gifts for you, Layla. Source of all, we give thanks for this new life that has come among us. Each child brings us hope for a new beginning, brings us trust in the future. We see the great potential that lies in every human life, and we know that this child will bring her unique gifts to humanity if we help her to do so. May we recognize and nurture those unique gifts, and through all the challenges and joys to come, Layla, may your life be blessed with happiness, hope, and love. Amen. All right, it's all yours, Layla. It's all yours. Thank you, guys. Welcome. So if you don't know, Mari's been one of our religious education teachers here for many years. So we're so happy to have their family as part of our family here. Welcome, Layla. I'll get you another rose in a minute so you can eat that one too. Any kids that want to go to Sunday school? It is way cool, Sunday school. I see you being hesitant back there. I promise you're going to have fun. Oh, no, it really is. It really is fun. It really is. Okay. Our second reading. Oh, hold on. Don't leave your sister behind. Deb, will you make sure that this young lady knows where she's going? I think she's new here. She knows where she's going? Okay. Just making sure. We don't want anyone lost. This place is sort of labyrinthine. Our reading this morning is from William Ellery Channing. He was one of the most well-known Unitarian ministers, preachers of the early 19th century, great leader in transcendentalist thought and theology, had a big influence on our friend Ralph Waldo Emerson over there. And he had a lot to say about kids and religious education. And this quote is sort of about religious education, but I also think it applies really across the board. The great end in religious instruction is not to stamp our minds upon the young, but to stir up their own. Not to make them see with our eyes, but to look inquiringly and steadily with their own. Not to give them a definite amount of knowledge, but to inspire a fervent love of truth. Not to form an outward regularity, but to touch inward springs. Not to bind them by any ineradicable prejudices to our particular sect or particular notions, but to prepare them for impartial, conscientious judging of whatever subjects may be offered to their decision. Not to burden the memory, but to quicken and strengthen the power of thought. Oh boy. Sorry. Well, not to impose religion upon them in the form of arbitrary rules, but to awaken the conscience, the moral discernment. In a word, the great end is to awaken the soul. I love that. And now we are going to sing another hymn, number 396. So we want to start to experiment with a lot more hymns than we do on a regular basis. And this one, since we're getting our choir back together, I hope, this one is called I Know This Rose Will Open, and it's meant to be sung eventually as a round. We're not going to do it as a round today, but we are going to sing it 3 times through, so let's try to learn this one. And since we had a rose as a big part of the service, I thought this would be very fitting. So please rise in body or spirit and sing with us number 396.
I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose
It's a nice hymn, isn't it? Now is the time in our service where we ask you for your kind donations toward the many, many good works of this church. And we sure do thank you for your generosity. And we thank you all for being here today to help us celebrate little Layla's welcoming into this community. Aww. My mom's had that on 45. So for our visitors today, let me explain that we explore different themes here every month of our church year from September through June. We follow a program called Soul Matters, which provides all kinds of cool resources for worship and spiritual development. And this month's Soul Matters theme is trust. And this is pretty fitting for a day when we welcome a new child into this beloved community, because so many levels of trust are brought to the surface, right? the trust that children have in their parents to keep them safe, trust that parents have in their chosen godparents to guide their child, the trust in combined family and friends to provide support for the parents, your trust that this community will have your back, to love you all and to be here through thick and thin. And then, of course, the fact that we all have the utmost trust that Mari and Brennan are and will continue to be awesome parents. It's a beautiful thing, this great circle of trust. And this is what we cultivate here. This is why we insist on this being a safe and welcoming place for everyone. And it's why instead of following any creed of faith, we covenant together with love and trust, respecting all spiritual paths and practices. This might sound like a crazy new idea, but it isn't at all. So the Soul Matters worship researcher, what a cool job that is, Reverend Michelle Collins, she provides this historical insight. The practice of trust has deep roots in Unitarian history, particularly in the movement's emphasis on religious freedom and the democratic process. Early Unitarians and Universalists trusted individuals to seek truth for themselves, rejecting authoritarian creeds or doctrines. This trust was evident in the Edict of 1568, the Edict of Torda, where King John Sigismund of Transylvania, yes, we have our roots in Transylvania, declared the first legal recognition of religious freedom, trusting in the people's ability to choose their faith without coercion, and specified Unitarian tradition as one of the recognized religions in their country. Similarly, as early Unitarians trusted in the ultimate reconciliation of all souls, emphasizing the boundless love of God instead of fear of judgment. These theological and historical commitments to freedom and love reflect an enduring trust in human agency as well as in the divine. Trust also shaped the governance and structure of Unitarian Universalist congregations, emphasizing the democratic process and shared leadership. From the Cambridge Platform of 1648, which affirmed the autonomy of each congregation, which we still have, which is really important, to the mid-20th century merger of the Unitarian and Universalist traditions, the history of Unitarian Universalism demonstrates a consistent reliance on covenant and cooperation. By placing decision-making in the hands of members, UUism has consistently trusted individuals to discern the needs of their communities and to act in service of shared values. This historical emphasis on democratic participation highlights the practice of trust as central to both the governance and theology of Unitarian Universalism, end quote. So, I might be the spiritual leader of this church, but I am far from the boss. For reals. All the decisions, literally about everything practical that happens in this church, the business, the upkeep, is voted on by our Board of Trustees, who are nominated and elected by the members and who have term limits. I know, we need more of that. We have an annual meeting in May for the full membership to hear reports from all the committees, to discuss and vote on the budget, and vote in new board members and any other item that might need everyone's agreement in our church. We trust the democratic process here, as messy as it can be sometimes, because we trust each other to do the best for this church because we love it and we want to see it flourish. So next week, I am thrilled to say that we will be welcoming at least 10 new members to our church. Yes, thank you. You go ahead. I will applaud for that too. I'm stoked. And they're going to become part of this shared ministry of this congregation and be eligible to vote at the next meeting. You guys can even sit in on the budget hearing. It's wicked fun. I know. So as someone who's been a member here for like 25 years and your minister for almost 10, I want to tell you a little bit about what trust in each other as members here distills down to. Comes down to this, my friends. The future of this church is yours to shape. Democratically, however you want to, as long as it is in line with our principles and respects our covenant. And those who are involved in this church really do determine what we can accomplish here. So think about what you have a passion for. What do you have a really big opinion about? We got big opinions here in the UNU Church. What is it? What Sunday services look like? How we do coffee hour? How we interact with our community? Our level of participation in social justice? What kind of music we explore? How we should budget or invest our money? What kinds of events and speakers you want here? Guess what? There's committees for all of that. And if there isn't a committee or a group for something that you're interested in or something that you would like to see happen, you are absolutely free to propose one, as long as you're willing to run it. That's where everybody gets stepped up, right? So I encourage you to explore all the different committees and ways to serve next week in what we're lovingly calling our chair fair. So that's where all the chairs of all our committees, hopefully, will be here to tell you about what they do, how you can help, how you can get involved. You, my friends, have the power. You have the power. You are the next generation going boldly. You can make it so. For those of you who are new here, I'm a wicked big Star Trek head, so you're going to get a lot of those weird references. Booker T. Washington, he said, "Few things help an individual more than to place responsibility upon him and to let him know that you trust him." So I am here to level responsibility on all of us so that we can share the workload and minister to each other, share our talents and our passions, and to let you know that I trust you to create that future in this church. I trust you, and I have faith that it will be marvelous. Being a Unitarian Universalist is to work for the greater good and to trust that standing by our principles, our core beliefs of justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity, centered in love, can and will change the world. We have to have faith in that. And creating beloved community based on trust is how we make that happen. But trusting isn't easy. The spiritual path of a UU isn't easy. It isn't supposed to be. When I first joined this church, these 25 years ago, I was part of a group conversation after church about being a Unitarian, and we were sort of paired up, new members and old members. And I got talking to this older woman who had been a member for a long time. I cannot for the life of me remember who it was at this point. But she told me that she had been raised Presbyterian, and though she went to church every week growing up, she never really had to think about anything. It was just there. She was told what to think. And she found that really comforting and easy. And then she went and married a Unitarian. And her spiritual world was turned upside down. She had never really considered what the divine meant or challenged her own beliefs. And she found it rewarding, though difficult. In fact, she told me, and I remember this particularly, she says, "I wish sometimes someone would just tell me exactly what to believe, because that is so much easier." She had been a member for over 30 years at that point, and she was glad she trusted herself and this congregation to keep growing her faith and expanding her mind. One of our former ministers here, David Rankin, was before my time, but who several of you have told me was a really interesting preacher. He challenged people to find their own truth and to trust in the journey, nay, the adventure that is being a Unitarian Universalist. He said, "A religion that promises life without tension, a life without conflict, a life without suffering, is a religion of passivity, a religion of mediocrity, a religion of insignificance. Everything worth doing in the world is a desperate gamble, a game of chance where nothing is certain. What is love? It is not a wild and is it not a wild and sublime speculation that can end in ecstasy or despair? What is courage? Is it not a hazardous risk of fortune that can end in victory or defeat? What is adventure, if not a blind leap in the dark that can end in joy or disaster? What is faith, if not a prayerful flip of the coin that can end in heaven or hell? If I refuse to play the game, if I refuse to risk trusting myself, if I refuse to throw the dice, I am never really alive. I am then only flesh, baking in the sun on a middling plateau with no view of the valley and no road to the peak." I wish I had been around to hear David Rankin preach, because I really enjoyed that quote. Ours is not a passive religion, my friends. It is a courageous adventure of wild and sublime spiritual exploration and speculation, a path of good for the sake of good, and trusting ourselves to find the divine in each other and in all things great and small. I hope you can join us next week as we welcome our new members into this circle of love and trust, and to tell them that you will walk beside them on this great adventure. And we were so glad to have our special guests here today to welcome Layla into this world. It looks like she's out of steam and snoozing along. Okay. So glad that we could have you all here today. Thank you so much. And now we are going to sing one last hymn. It's in your teal hymnal, so if you don't, you might have to follow along or grab one from another pew. It is number 1020, 1020. Please rise as you are willing and able.
We're going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know it in, and we will get there. Heaven knows where we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough. We'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Wo-ya-ya, wo-ya-ya. Wo-ya-ya, wo-ya-ya, we are going. Heaven knows where we are going, but we know we're in, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Wo-ya-ya, 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 wo-ya-ya,
Go with faith, not the kind that moves mountains, but the quieter sort that calls us to take the first step, even when the whole staircase sits beyond our view. As we stride toward the unseen, may we notice that the way unfolds only as we risk traveling it. And may we remember and trust that none of these steps are ones we take alone, my friends. So let's do this thing together. Hold fast, my church. We love you. Stay strong. Live long and prosper. Go in peace. Have a seat and let's listen to the prelude, and then we're going to go on down to coffee hour. A postlude. You know what I mean.